Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this explosive edition of entertainment news where the silver screen meets the sharp edge of morning television drama. Imagine the set of ITV's beloved chat show, Lorraine, bathed in that cheerful morning light, with host Lorraine Kelly, the queen of cozy interviews, smiling warmly as her guest of honor takes his seat. At 92 years young, Sir Michael Caine, the iconic British actor whose gravelly voice and Cockney charm have captivated audiences from the foggy streets of 1960s London and Zulu to the high-octane twists of the Dark Knight trilogy, was there to promote his latest memoir, a reflective tome on a life spent dodging bullets, seducing spies, and stealing scenes. The audience buzzed with anticipation, expecting tales of Hollywood glamour, wartime anecdotes, and perhaps a cheeky quip about his enduring appeal to women half his age. Lorraine, ever the consummate professional with over 4 decades in the spotlight, kicked things off with her signature blend of Scottish warmth and probing curiosity, asking about Michael's retirement from acting, a decision he'd announced just months prior, citing a desire to spend more time with his family amid the creeping frailties of age. Michael, dressed in a sharp navy blazer over a crisp white shirt, his signature glasses perched on his nose, leaned back with that trademark smirk, ready to regale the viewers at home, sipping their tea. Little did anyone know, this would be no ordinary segment. The air crackled with the unspoken tension of two titans whose worlds, though seemingly aligned in British showbiz lore, were about to collide in a manner that would send shockwaves through tabloids, social media, and water cooler chats across the nation. The midway mark arrived like a gasp for air in a drowning scene, the show's theme swelling as Whoopi ad-libbed a peppy transition, her charisma the glue holding the fracturing hour together. While stagehands darted shadows with fresh mics and water pitchers, the audience fanning themselves in the humid hush of held breath. Meryl Streep, her blouse slightly askew from animated gestures, accepted a cooling sip, her eyes scanning the crowd for anchors, familiar faces from premieres past, nodding solidarity amid the fray. The panel reconvened with feigned nonchalance, Sunny adjusting her glasses with a conciliatory smile, Sarah doodling hearts on her notepad to reclaim levity, Alyssa tapping notes in her tablet like a stenographer at trial, and Joy, undimmed, crossing her legs with a defiant flourish, her foot jiggling a Morse code of mischief. Whoopi dove straight into salvage mode, cueing a fan-submitted video, a montage of Meryl's eco-activism, from UN speeches to beach cleanups, narrated by school kids reciting lines from her films adapted to climate pleas. The devil wears fossil fuels, eliciting guffaws that thawed the frost. See? Meryl's the real deal. Whoopi beamed, passing to Sunny for amplification on intersectional environmentalism, how the film spotlights migrant workers bearing brunt in polluted zones. Meryl engaged warmly, detailing collaborations with indigenous consultants for authentic lore, her anecdotes painting vivid portraits of teepees turned greenhouses on set. Sarah swooped in with bubbly energy, confessing a Meryl movie marathon ritual for motivation, prompting the guest to share a blooper reel tease. Elena tripping over a prop iceberg, Pratt falling into Whoopi's lap for improvised hilarity. Laughter cascaded, a temporary tide washing away barbs, Alyssa weaving in market trends. How eco-films like this boost streaming sustainability pledges from Netflix brass. Midway through this televised tango of tempers, the heat index on the Lorraine set skyrocketed, transforming what was billed as a promotional puff piece into a powder keg primed for detonation. With Sir Michael Caine's legendary poise beginning to crack under the relentless barrage of Lorraine Kelly's incisive interrogations. The core of the conflagration centered on Michael's memoir excerpts, where he'd mused on the feminization of heroism in blockbusters, decrying how female leads now outshone male counterparts in ways he felt undermined traditional narratives, a chapter that had already ruffled feathers in feminist circles and earned him plaudits from conservative commentators. Lorraine, seizing the thread like a terrier with a bone, flipped open her notes with a flourish, quoting verbatim, "You wrote that strong women in films make men look weak. Doesn't that smack of outdated machismo, Michael? In a post-#MeToo world, shouldn't we celebrate empowered women without apology?" Her delivery was velvet over steel, the audience leaning in, breaths collectively held, as if witnessing a high-wire act sans net. Michael's response was a thunderclap, his voice booming across the studio. Bollocks to that, Lorraine. I've adored women my whole life, married one for nigh on 50 years, but cinema's about balance, not balancing scales like some bloody accountant. Give me Ingrid Bergman over Instagram influencers any day. It's art, not activism. Laughter rippled from pockets of the crowd, but it was nervous, edged with unease, as Lorraine fired back, invoking her own trailblazing career, breaking glass ceilings in male-dominated broadcasting, her retort laced with personal stake. As a woman who's fought for every inch in this industry, I take issue with dismissing progress as forced. It's earned, Michael, through sweat and silenced voices. The tipping point arrived, not with a bang, but with a barrage of barbs that stripped away the veneer of celebrity civility, leaving Sir Michael Caine and Lorraine Kelly locked in a linguistic lockdown that exposed the raw underbelly of fame's facade on her eponymous show. It was Michael's turn to turn the tables, countering Lorraine's litany of progressive indictments by invoking his own battles against typecasting. The Cockney kid forever pigeonholed as the cheeky chappie, fighting tooth and nail for dramatic depth in roles that defied expectations. You talk adaptation, Lorraine, but I've reinvented myself a dozen times over, from kitchen sink realism to Cape Crusader sidekicks. Without whining for handouts, he retorted, his tone dipping into that East End growl that once chilled spines in Get Carter. Lorraine, her cheeks faintly pink under the studio makeup, shot back with equal fire. And I've hosted this sodding show through thick and thin, interviewing everyone from the Queen to Quentin Tarantino, without losing my spine to sentimentality. Your handouts. Jibe ignores the systemic barriers women and minorities still smash daily. The exchange devolved into a dizzying duel of dates and data. Michael citing box office flops of agenda-driven films like the latest Marvel misfire, Lorraine parrying with Emmy sweeps for inclusive series like Bridgerton, each accusation laced with the poison of personal affront. The audience, now a tinderbox of divided loyalties, gasped audibly as Michael leaned in, pointing a finger not quite accusingly, but close enough to spark whispers of offensive. You're twisting my words into knots, Gel. I'm all for fair shakes, but not at the expense of good yarns. His defense was defiant, drawing cheers from the back rows where silver-haired fans clustered, but Lorraine's riposte was ruthless. In the vortex of vitriol that vortexed through the Lorraine studio, the crescendo crashed like a wave on jagged rocks, with Sir Michael Caine's legendary equanimity evaporating in a haze of heated hyperbole, propelling the interview into infamy's irrevocable embrace. The flashpoint flared when Lorraine, emboldened by the back-and-forth's bizarre buoyancy, delved into Michael's personal peccadillos, referencing tabloid tattle from his wilder youth. The rumored dalliances, the boozy escapades that fueled headlines in the swinging 60s, and juxtaposing them against his current family man facade in the memoir. You've preached fidelity now, Michael, but wasn't there a time when your idea of commitment was a cocktail shaker? She quipped, aiming for levity, but landing like a lead balloon. Michael's face darkened thunderously, the twinkle in his eye eclipsed by eclipse, and he surged forward in his chair, voice vaulting octaves. That's low, Lorraine, lower than a snake's belly. You want to dredge up ancient history to sell papers? I've owned my mistakes, paid the piper, unlike some who hide behind holier-than-thou halos. The accusation sliced through the stunned silence, the audience erupting in a cacophony of gasps and groans, a few brave souls applauding the raw riposte, while others shielded eyes in second-hand cringe. Lorraine recoiled visibly, hand fluttering to her throat in mock horror, masking genuine gall, stammering a semi-apology that dissolved into defense. It was a joke, Michael. Lighten up. We're all flawed diamonds here. But the bell had tolled. Michael's retort roared forth, a torrent of testimonial on redemption's road, from philandering philanderer to devoted dad, crediting Shakira's grace for his grounding, yet laced with barbs at prying presenters who probe like prosecutors. The studio spun into chaos, lights flickering as if in sympathy. The house band poised to strike up a rescue tune, but frozen by the fray.